There is a thing that we're going to be discussing today. Speaking of Israel-Palestine, IAGS, International Association of Genocide Scholars, resolution on the situation in Gaza. We are going to be covering this, so prepare yourselves for that topic.
But twice, a double tap, the kind of thing that Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Iraq used to do.
I mean, Russia also does double tap on a regular basis, by the way. It strikes, it waits for the rescue teams to come, and then it strikes again. So Russia does double taps on the regular.
Himself, the IDF, they said it was a mistake and we apologized.
An apology is not enough when you do a war crime like that.
When they put...
But we apologize. Imagine if Russia also was... Well, okay, Russia's a little bit more blatant than that, but imagine if Lavrov said, well, yeah, but, we apologized. Double tap, because you attack once and then you attack second time. That's why double tap.
Whether it's surveillance or guns on top of mosques and hospitals.
There were no guns on top of the Nasser hospital, as you know. That's a lie.
All those gruesome photos that you show me, and I cannot tell you it's not gruesome, but it's all whose responsibility?
Yours. You dropped 2,000-pound bombs on city.
Wow, I'm getting the same rhetoric all over again. We only attack the war machine. This is identical rhetoric. Okay then, have a good time.
And towns.
I don't believe anything that comes out of Gaza when it is endorsed by Hamas.
Danny, October the 7th doesn't justify killing paramedics and then mass grave burying them with their ambulances.
What do you mean? We just attacked the Hamas war machine.
That is a war crime.
But everything will surface. We'll see the war crimes of Hamas.
There you go.
We'll see the war crimes of Israel. We're already seeing the war crimes of Israel. You are now a pariah state, especially because of this famine you've caused in Gaza. Danny, you're not answering my question. I'll ask a fourth time. What should happen?
Yes, it's the Palestinian war machine. Everything is. It's like listening to Lavrov all over again.
Danny, you're filibustering and everyone can see it.
If I think that this guy, this Smotrich guy, is
Hello, Akku.
an idiot.
Is it evil? Is it depraved? Is it sadistic? What word would you describe shooting children in the testicles? On Monday, Israel committed yet another heinous war crime, striking Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza not once, but twice. The attack killed at least 20 people, including rescue workers, hospital staff, and 5 journalists, many of whom had rushed to the scene following the first strike. It was a double tap.
Wow.
Shocking. Shameful. Criminal.
I mean, Russia does it on the regular, so...
The video showing the moment rescue workers were struck as they tried to pull victims of the first strike out of the rubble.
Yeah.
The attack on Nasser Hospital comes just days after the world's leading authority on food crises, the IPC, announced a full-blown famine in Gaza City, with at least 500,000 of Gaza's 2 million Palestinians officially suffering from starvation. So, war crimes, famine, genocide. How do you defend this stuff? Earlier, I spoke to former Israeli diplomat Danny Ayalon, who served as Israel's deputy foreign minister, its ambassador to the United States, and was also an advisor to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Danny Ayalon, thank you for joining me on Mehdi Unfiltered. The level of mass killing in Gaza has been almost unprecedented in modern times. One report in the Lancet Medical Journal suggested the real death toll may end up being as high as 180,000 dead. The Economist said it could be 109,000 dead. The scientific journal Nature cites a study showing 84,000 dead, while the Gaza Health Ministry, rather conservatively, is reporting a total of 62,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza as of this month. But look, whether it's 109,000, 84,000, or just 62,000, I have to ask, Danny, how does someone like yourself, how do you sleep at night knowing that your country, the government you support, is responsible for the deaths of so many thousands of people, women?
Good question. Well, let's see the answer. Also, let's wait for Fido to stop barking. I sleep very peacefully.
Children, the elderly.
Well, Madi, first of all, shalom
I get it's annoying, but I'm so over all these BS language games.
to you, salam, peace to you and to all the viewers. Inshallah, I hope we will get it there soon. As to your question, I'll tell you, when we see all this horrible, and there's no other way to describe it, horrible pictures in Gaza, I can tell you that Israelis think of one thing, and this is October 7th. October 7th was probably the hardest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Just think about that. And
That's not even true, by
does
the
it
way.
justify all the death? No. But
it justifies a lot of it, is the implication, unironically.
explaining why Israel has to do what it has to do, yes, it's a matter of self-defense.
No, it's not. It's bullshit.
We do not like to have people who are not involved, but this is the scourge of war. And here I can tell you that, and again, I don't want to go to the numbers. We have an issue with the numbers because mostly it is based on Hamas numbers.
Even though all those independent organizations have confirmed that those numbers are legitimate and good. Well, good is a strange word. That they are legitimate.
It's manipulative. But I can tell you that wars, you look at, if just we think of recent wars, whether it was in Fallujah or in Mosul, the ratio was 10-1 between terrorists that were killed and uninvolved. I hope and I believe that this is not the same ratio in Gaza.
Oh, you hope. You hope.
Again, it's not a solace to anyone. But
so
I'll
come back to the ratio in a moment. I'm glad you raised the ratio. But you just mentioned something else. You said October the 7th is what explains it for Israelis. And over 1,000 people were killed on October 7th, horrifically.
Wow. Okay. Brilliant.
You also mentioned that the numbers from the Hamas ministry are manipulated, they can't be trusted. And yet Israel's own generals, Danny, in private, we now know they take those numbers at face value. I want you to have a listen.
Oh, maybe the Israeli generals are just liars. Have you considered that? Mehdi Hassan, have you considered that maybe they were just memeing and joking?
To this recording of General Aharon Halevi, who was Israel's military intelligence chief on October the 7th. Liking this video? Then don't just watch. Hit like, share, and subscribe. And tap the bell.
Okay, I will like. My dog. Okay, I have to scorn my dog because he is trying to do some bad things again.
So you never miss a video or live show. But if you want early access to exclusive content, then you have to head to zeteo.com and subscribe now. You'll be supporting fearless, independent journalism. Listen to what he was caught saying on tape in private.
The fact that 50,000 have already been killed in Gaza is crucial for future generations. For everything that happened on October 7th, for one person on October 7th, 50 Palestinians have to die. Oh, okay, that is totally sane and normal rhetoric, and I would like to see how this person will try to spin it. Oh, I'd like to know how this will be spun. Oh, this is just propaganda, and this is just fighting the military complex, the military machine. Hamas. 50 Hamasians have to die. Never mind now if they are children. Never mind if they are children. Okay. We'll see.
Only is that Israeli general openly endorsing the killing of Palestinian children and saying that October 7th justifies you guys killing 50 Palestinians for every Israeli, outrageously. But he also cites the Gaza Health Ministry's death toll at that time. He says 50,000 dead. General Halevi doesn't question it, so why are you?
Okay, so I have twofold answers. First of all, General Halevi misspoke. Secondly, he misspoke. Are you fucking kidding? Oh, you have got to. Oh, that you misspoke. Okay, fuck me. You have got to be kidding me. Really? That's the line? Misspoke. He's not in uniforms anymore. He's retired. And thirdly, if you listen to him, what he says is what should be in his mind. He didn't.
Oh my God.
Say that, he said this is what should be the result. This is not
that's not true, Danny. He said there are already 50,000 dead in Gaza. He was acknowledging the death toll that you won't acknowledge.
Well,
let me hear this again.
This is not, he said this is what should be the result. He didn't say that.
Welcome, Inqub.
He said this is what should be the result. This is not
that's not true, Danny.
Did he say that? That does not make it any better, actually. If he actually said this should be the result should be 50,000 dead?
He said there are already 50,000 dead in Gaza. He was acknowledging the death toll that you won't acknowledge.
Well, maybe, I don't know why he said that. Again, I think
because it's the truth, Danny. Because it's the truth in private. In private, Israelis admit to the truth. That's why he said it, surely.
No. I think what he said, it's
Oh, he even said it with the tone. He even said it with the tone. No, nah. He even said it with that idiotic tone. Even Fido got agitated when he heard this. Even Fido got agitated. No. I have to hear it again.
in order.
That's why he said it, surely.
No. I think what
No.
he said it's in order to kind of make himself less vulnerable, because he is the one accused for not having the intelligence. He was the chief intelligence officer. But I'll tell you, Maddie, there is one easy way to stop everything. Hamas leaving Gaza, not controlling Gaza, stop the terror and disarming, giving the Palestinians back their own government. You know, the Hamas.
Yeah, those who are left alive.
They hold on, Daddy. They've agreed
Nobody buys this bullshit anymore.
to step down from government, as Gershon Baskin and others have pointed out. But just sticking with this topic, do you believe, as Aharon Haliva does, that October 7th justifies killing 50 Palestinians for every Israeli killed on October the 7th?
I think it's not a matter of numbers.
But that's what he
I
said.
don't think it's a matter
I'm
of
asking,
numbers.
do you agree that it's justified? He says for everything that happened.
You know that it's not a matter of numbers could be read as a yes to the answer to that question, right? Numbers don't matter. Yeah, sure. There should be 50 killed for each one.
On October 7th, 50 Palestinians must die for every Israeli. Do you agree with that?
I will answer you very, very.
You can't say
succinctly.
no? Danny, you can't say no?
What I want is, I will
50 Palestinians must die for every Israeli. Do you agree with that?
I will answer you very, very.
You can't say
succinctly.
no? Danny, you
That is crazy.
can't say no?
What I want to say, what I want to say is that Israel does not act out of revenge, but out of self-defense. And
Yeah, out of self-defense, for every one Israeli, 50 Palestinians must die. For in the name of defense, you see. So you will not say no.
this is what I believe in. This is what most Israelis believe in. And
That for one Israeli, 50 Palestinians must die. Is this what really most Israelis believe in?
the culprit, it could be even more casualties on all sides. But
On all sides.
what is the root cause? The root
Oh my god, again with this bullshit. Oh my god. This is literally like listening to Lavrov all over again, isn't it? The root cause of the conflict. Oh my goodness.
cause is Hamas. If we do not
The
understand
root cause.
that,
Of course,
if this is not a departure
The rest of the world
for
is saying the root
Palestinians,
cause
but I think-
is the occupation. But I do need to stick with this topic because it's very important. You
Uh-oh.
mentioned
Oh my god, the root cause. Yep, this is just... Yeah, we went from Lavrov to this, and we are hearing very bizarrely similar arguments on the display.
right? You said Hamas is the root problem. You're fighting Hamas. How many Hamas fighters have been killed in your view? What is the ratio between civilians and fighters in your opinion?
Well, as much as I can tell, and I'm not I'm not in Gaza these days. I'm not in
I'm not in Gaza these days.
government these days. I'm talking as just regular Israelis who is exposed to the news, who knows some people. I believe that again the ratio would be maybe 3 to 1, 3 uninvolved, not more than that. And it's not that I justify, but it's just to explain.
Okay.
And
But
this
you must
is
I'm not justifying, I'm just saying that it's okay.
the issue that Israel has.
You said you were
in the-
exposed. You said you're exposed to the news, Danny. You must have seen the news from Plus 972 magazine in Israel and the Guardian newspaper in the UK that obtained from a classified Israeli military intelligence database Israel's own numbers showing that it's killed just under 9,000 Hamas fighters, maybe as low as 7,300 Hamas fighters,
Wow.
which means that per Israel's own internal calculations, 83% of the people killed in Gaza have been civilians. That's one of the highest civilian death rates in modern warfare, Danny. You have to go back to the Rwanda genocide in the mid-1990s
Oof.
to find a single conflict with a higher civilian death rate. That's one of the reasons why people say Gaza is a genocide. 5 out of every 6 Palestinians killed by Israel have been civilians, and that's according to Israel's own military intelligence.
Uh-oh, maybe they misspoke. Have you considered?
So here, Maddie, I beg to differ.
Again, and we're going to be talking about this. We're going to cover this. The International Association of Genocide Scholars have declared this to be genocide. But, who cares about those people?
My numbers show that at least 20,000 Hamas terrorists.
Where do you
were
get your
killed.
numbers from? Because according to 972, there is no other place to check other than this database, which says a max of 8,900, maybe as low as 7,300 fighters. That's it. That's what you've killed.
Oh,
Well, this is what I believe in. This is through some
I believe this is true.
analysis that some people who were there. I was not there, but people who
Oh, some analysis by some people that you believe to be true. Got it. Thank you.
were there.
This is useful.
And through evidence on the ground and extrapolation. But
Oh.
Manny, this is, I think, is a side issue. Whether it's 1 per 1, 2 per 1. The issue is.
Oh, it's just a side issue. Whether how many civilians were killed. That's just it's just a little bit of a side story. Wow.
Why did we have to go through this? Is Hamas really representing the Palestinian people? He's not. He is the one perpetrating.
But do you condemn Hamas?
Coup back
But
in
with respect,
2007.
Danny, let's-
Cool. Oh God.
You have to remember also,
Okay.
and I hope that your people, your audience remembers that Israel left Gaza altogether.
That's not true,
unilaterally back
Danny.
in
That's not true, Danny.
2005.
Danny, that's been debunked many times. You control the air, the sea waters, the land borders, the population registry. It's still considered occupied territory by the International Court of Justice, by the ICRC, by the UN Security Council.
Maybe they all misspoke. Maybe they all just misspoke collectively.
It's occupied territory. Mainstream media is noisy, spineless, and constantly playing the both sides game. That's why I started Zeteo. We're here to tell you real stories, to ask the hard questions.
You know what? I'm not gonna even give his sponsorship. I like him.
To bring you truly unfiltered journalism. But we can't do it all. That's where Ground News comes in.
Okay,
It's
I
an
don't like ground news, but
independent platform where you can find thousands of articles all in one place.
my goodness,
Context
even he does it.
matters. Click on a story and you'll be able to see
Oh, boy.
which news outlets are covering it. Compare different headlines from around the world with a visual breakdown of each source's political leaning, reliability, and who owns it. Take this story about Kilmar
Even he sold out to ground news.
Abrego Garcia, who Donald Trump is trying to deport again. One scroll will show you 100 different ways it's being framed. See who's covering the story or not, so you know where your news is really coming from. See for yourself and subscribe.
Everyone does ground news, and that is where they're useless. Well, they did not offer me any money, so ground news did not offer me any money.
Scan the QR code or go to ground.news
Bonjour.
/Zeteo. You'll get 40% off the unlimited access Vantage subscription. That's less than $5 a month. What are you waiting for? I don't want to get distracted, as you say. Let's not be distracted. Let's focus on the core issue. You say you want peace. You began the interview saying you want peace. You say that these ratios are irrelevant. All right, let's talk about specific examples then, not about ratios or percentages. On Monday, Israel struck the NASA hospital not once, but twice,
No,
killing at
double
least
tap.
20 people, including 5 journalists, multiple first responders who had rushed to the scene
Yeah.
after the first strike to pull people out.
Maybe they were Hamas. Have you considered Hamas journalists, Hamas first responders, Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas, Mehdi Hassan?
Trouble. And then they were hit. And 3 of those journalists were killed in a second strike. A double tap, the kind of thing that Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Iraq used to do.
And Russia does.
What Assad has done in Syria, what Putin has done in Ukraine.
There you go.
Those are war crimes, are they not? Attacking a hospital without warning, killing journalists, killing first responders in multiple strikes, and then saying it was a mistake. No,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, most silly mistake. Everyone does mistakes. Can you not forgive?
it was deliberate, cold-blooded.
We apologize for it as well. Can you not forgive?
Well, Mehdi, here I think we do agree on the facts on the ground.
Yeah, the facts are we did a mistake, whoopsie, and we apologize. And I think let bygones be bygones.
Why do we agree? Because it is investigated specifically. And this was something that, we do not do. So we are not acting
Hold on,
like
hold on. You
Putin
did it,
or
Danny.
Assad.
That is something we do not do, even though we did it. But we apologize. So that sort of kind of counts like not doing it, like not having done it.
Hold on. You can't say we do not do. You did it. Israel did it.
No, I'll tell you what's the difference. The difference is that Putin, Hamas, Assad, they never apologized for any death. Here, Netanyahu himself, the IDF, they said it was a mistake and we apologize. And when we apologize, it means we're going to investigate and correct the things. And
Yeah, we're.
different.
Oh my God. We apologize. We're going to correct the things. We're going to revive the journalists, of course, and we are going to revive the first responders. Naturally, we're going to correct the things. Of course. Easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We're going to use our revival magic.
But why do it in the first place? It wasn't an accident. You did a double tap strike on a hospital. An apology is not enough when you do a war crime like that.
I mean,
well, from what I understand is that there was a position. See, that's part of the problem,
Yeah, that is part of the problem that Hamas, okay, you see, Hamas was in the hospital and we had to, therefore,
Hamas is embedded. When Hamas is using their own population, their civil population, as human shields, when they...
Oh my God, they still go with that bullshit. They still go with the human shield bullshit. Of course.
Whether it's surveillance or guns on top of mosques and hospitals.
There were no guns on top of the NASA hospital, as you know. That's a lie. Danny Island, there were no guns on top of the NASA hospital. That's a lie.
Maybe you misspoke. Maybe you just didn't see them. Maybe they were there and you just didn't see them.
Can we just clarify? That is a lie. There were no guns on top of the NASA hospital.
Listen.
Maybe not on top, maybe inside, underground tunnel, who knows?
According to the Geneva Convention,
yeah,
if a hospital or any other civilian place is used for terror, it's a legitimate target.
So you did attack it deliberately? Hold on, is it an accident or did you attack it deliberately?
Oh shit. The story is lining up.
Telling me two different things at the same time.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the script. Oh shit, human shields.
It was attacked deliberately because the soldiers on the ground saw that there was a surveillance camera there that...
It doesn't mean anything. It could be the hospital's surveillance camera.
...is directing snipers at them. Now...
What? How would they even know?
You know what was, from what I understand, you know what was the mistake? The mistake was that they did not use a pinpoint, drone, something, just at the camera. They used a tank. And this is what we're investigating. Who gave the order to do it with a tank? They shouldn't have done it with a tank.
Danny, isn't the problem here that you say there's an investigation? I've been following this conflict. I've been following Gaza for many years. You and I have spoken many times over the years. The Israeli investigations are worthless, are they not? Let me give you an example. In March.
No.
Well, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example, and then you can respond. Hold on, Danny. Let me give you an example, and then you can respond. In March, near Rafah, a group of 15 paramedics and aid workers driving in clearly marked emergency vehicles and uniforms were shot and killed by the Israeli military, who claimed after the killings that they were advancing suspiciously, that the lights were not on, that there were Hamas fighters on board, that they were in a combat zone. None of those things turned out to be true. Sky News, other media investigated this using satellite imagery, audio recordings. All of the Israeli claims turned out to be false. Israel admitted the claims were false. Those paramedics were killed in cold blood, one by one, according to the...
Well, did they apologize? Did the Israeli military apologize? That changes a lot. That actually changes a lot in the equation. If they apologize, then I guess they're off the hook, right? Danny, tell us, Danny, please, if they apologized. Yeah, you heard it right. They used a tank to shoot the surveillance camera.
UN. Some from as close as 12 meters away. Gunshot wounds to the head and torso. Paramedics in uniform. They were then buried in a mass grave. Their ambulances were crushed. The entire thing was a cover-up. Israel says we're going to investigate it. Do you know how many soldiers were prosecuted as a result of that investigation? Zero. The deputy commander was fired. Danny, 15 people were killed. Not a single Israeli soldier was charged, let alone prosecuted.
Because, I don't know about Sky News or whatever.
Because you see Hamas in the ambulances.
On the ground, and Hamas was using them.
There we have it. It was all Hamas, always Hamas. And therefore we had to kill the paramedics because of Hamas.
Cover. And again, the problem
there was no Hamas in those ambulances, Danny. We have the audio recordings. They were killed in cold blood.
No, Mehdi, no.
No, Mehdi. Hamas is everywhere, you see. Hamas is everywhere at all times. Do you not understand that Hamas is everywhere? And therefore it allows us to do everything?
if Hamas was not using their own people as
Human shields. You forgot the phrase.
as cannon fodder,
Yes, human shields.
as human shields,
Yes, human shields. Don't forget.
none of this would have happened. And by the way, when I said that we left Gaza, and you say yes, but we surround it. Why did we surround it? Because the arms of Hamas, had Hamas disarmed,
Danny,
Gaza would have turned into a Singapore.
Danny, we have video footage showing the ambulance had lights flashing, the logos were on, that they had come under fire. The big issue is here, you keep saying different things. You say it was a mistake, but we had to attack the hospital. You say there was an investigation,
Yeah,
but there were Hamas on the ambulances. Israel's own internal investigation says there were professional failures and they fired the deputy commander. What I'm asking you is, when you're massacring...
Maybe they misspoke when they fired him. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe he should not have been fired.
15 people in an ambulance or 20 people at a hospital and nobody goes to prison, your apologies are worthless.
No, first of all,
Somebody has to go
I'm
to prison,
not sure
Danny.
that nobody's going to
Not a
prison.
single Israeli
I think that
soldier has been prosecuted for killing a Palestinian in Gaza.
We
Not a
have-
single
I'll tell
Israeli
you-
soldier.
We have an independent attorney general in the military. I trust them.
So why has
Oh,
no Israeli soldier
Israel
been
has-
prosecuted for killing a Palestinian since October the 7th, 2023?
who knows?
If Hamas was not doing this October the 7th and not using
Oh,
their
okay. It's all Hamas.
own population,
Danny, October the
this is the
7th
problem.
doesn't justify killing paramedics and then mass grave burying them with their ambulances.
Yes, it does. Of course it does.
That is a war crime.
Nothing, I would say nothing justifies killing paramedics.
So
or
why
killing
did Israeli
anyone.
soldiers shoot them in the head and chest from 12 meters away and then lie about it?
Because
I have
Hamas.
different information about
There is
it,
hold on,
and
Danny.
you
There's
know
no
what?
different information.
I'm sure-
We have video, audio, satellite evidence that Sky News, The Guardian,
But
CNN,
Hamas-
international media have checked. Israel's own investigation says it shouldn't have happened. It was happened due to poor night visibility, is the BS from the Israeli investigation. Why has
Oh
no
my
one gone
God.
to prison, is my question to you.
Because of
Anybody
Hamas.
on the ground, no. By using satellites and all that, with all due respect, it's not accurate. The only accuracy in terms of investigation
Yes,
was
the only accurate party is the party that is being investigated, aka the IDF. Like, what? Are you kidding me?
the people on the ground. And the people on the ground
Yes, the IDF should investigate itself. Oh, we're not guilty. Oh, okay. Thanks.
have different opinions or different
Danny, what you're saying
conclusions.
is the war criminals get to investigate their own war crimes. That's not how the world works. You know that.
No.
Basically, that is what he's just saying. Oh my God.
No, this is what I'm saying, that we have an independent judicial arm. We have a dependent judicial
Well,
arm.
unfortunately,
in
the independent
government.
judicial arm has not trusted. This is why the International Criminal Court brought charges against your Prime Minister. Earlier this month,
Yep.
Danny, Dr. Nick Maynard, an acclaimed British surgeon at Oxford University Hospitals, he just won an award from the King of England for his humanitarian work. He told me that when he visited Gaza in July, he discovered that Israeli soldiers appeared to be playing, quote, target practice on Palestinians at the so-called Gaza humanitarian aid sites, shooting them on different days in different clusters of body parts. These are patients brought into his hospital. He says on one day, it wasn't just a head and torso. He treated 4 young teenage Palestinian boys, all of whom were brought in having been shot in the testicles, Danny. How should we describe what Israeli soldiers are doing to Palestinians in Gaza? Is it evil? Is it depraved? Is it sadistic? What word would you describe shooting children in the testicles?
I think there is a gross misunderstanding. What you described
Yes,
here
when you say testicles, they probably meant warning shots in the air.
is what Hamas did on the 7th of October to civilian, innocent Jewish people. Israeli army does not do that. I do not believe it for 1 minute. And again, we know.
I don't understand what you
let's
mean.
just talk about-
I don't believe it. This is Dr. Nick Maynard who treated the patients. He was there on the ground. This is his eyewitness testimony.
You know what? Sir,
Maybe the doctor misspoke. Maybe the doctor was mistaken. Maybe Hamas did it.
I don't believe anything that comes out of Gaza when it is endorsed by Hamas. Hamas is talking about starvation.
He didn't
in
say
Gaza.
it from
Is there
Gaza.
starvation
He told me in
Gaza?
the
Look
UK.
at Sudan.
He was
Look
sitting
at
in the
Somalia.
UK.
There's
Hold on, Danny. He was
starvation
sitting
there,
in the
not
UK.
Gaza.
We'll come to starvation. He was sitting in the UK when he told me this. A British doctor who's won awards from the King of England, respected surgeon. Why would he lie?
Maybe he's from Hamas?
About 4 kids being shot in the testicles, Danny? You want me to believe the Israeli military over Dr. Nick Maynard?
Yes.
I don't believe it for a minute. What was his motivation? I do not know. Maybe he's a
Maybe.
Hamas sympathizer. Listen.
There you go. Maybe he's in Hamas. Of course, maybe this guy's just from Hamas.
Every American, British, and Canadian doctor who's gone out has said they found children being shot in the head and chest. Are they all Hamas sympathizers? That's your
Yes. 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 They are. Yes.
Really?
No, I'm saying that they
No. Most of them are, though.
maybe making this, or maybe the Hamas did it to show them. Listen, Hamas has shown to
I knew it. Maybe Hamas did it.
be merciless to their own people, and I won't put it past them to kill their own people.
Yeah,
just
exactly. It's so that Hamas did it. It was Hamas that did it.
to blame Israel for that.
Even though,
and this is something
even though
that I'm
Israeli
very
soldiers have
serious
told
about.
Haaretz that at the aid sites,
you know what?
there's no one with weapons.
You
We're
know
the
what?
ones shooting them.
When all is said and done, when the war in Gaza, and I hope the war in Gaza will end as soon as possible,
Yes. It's all Hamas.
everything will surface. And when everything will surface, we'll see the war crimes of Hamas.
I think we'll see the war crimes of Israel. We're already seeing the war crimes of
No,
Israel. I've
I-
already mentioned a few
no,
of
I
them.
don't think so.
Let me mention
I
this.
don't-
Let me say this to you, Danny. Isn't the problem for you that you come on Western television and you say, I don't believe this. This is Hamas. The Israeli army would never do this. There's no genocide, no famine, no ethnic cleansing. This is about Hamas. Yet back home in Israel, your own finance minister, who is also a member of the security cabinet and the defense ministry, Bezalel Smotrich, he's quite open and honest about the plan. And let me just quote to you what he said in May. We are disassembling Gaza, leaving it as piles of rubble with total destruction, which has no precedent globally. We are destroying everything that's left in the Gaza Strip. We are conquering, cleansing, and remaining in Gaza. His words, by the way, praised by Netanyahu on Twitter that very day. Words that are a clear admission of genocide and ethnic cleansing.
Whoops. Maybe he misspoke.
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because I think that this guy, this Smotrich guy, is an idiot. I don't think he represents the Israeli people. I hope
He certainly does represent the Israeli government.
And you know what? By the way, if elections were held today, he doesn't even pass the threshold. If elections were held today, Netanyahu will not be in the government. And when I want to talk about independent
He is. He is in the government.
judicial system here, you know that Netanyahu and this government tried to change the judicial system to give more power to the government. Million Israelis went out to the streets.
Okay.
The Israeli
What does that have to do with anything? That's completely unrelated. What about is at its best
people
But
or
you're not
worst?
engaging with what he said.
peace.
We are conquering, cleansing, and remaining in Gaza from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, luckily he does not command the military and the army.
He's the finance minister. He controls the West
know.
Bank. He's part of the defense ministry. And by the way, Netanyahu said on that day, well done, Bezalel Smotrich, you told the truth. Netanyahu is the prime minister of Israel, last time I checked, Danny. So
Maybe he does not represent anybody.
I love this thing that you guys do. Israelis come on TV and say Smotrich is irrelevant. Smotrich is the finance minister of your country.
Finance minister is not that important.
He is in government. You
Or
are
the prime minister, for that matter.
not, with respect. He is
And
more representative of the
yes.
Israeli government than you are.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
burn.
you are correct in the sense
Burn. Poor criminals becoming too blunt these days. I know, right? Fuck
that
me.
Smotrich now is in the government, representing the government. Does he represent the people of Israel? I'm not sure.
Yeah, supposedly. Isn't Israel supposed to be the one representative democracy in the Middle East? So, yeah, he does.
But I don't care
We
whether he
are
represents
in
the people of Israel. That wasn't my question. My question was, you can deny it's
The
genocide
answer is yes, he does, by the way.
and ethnic cleansing, but the people doing the genocide and ethnic cleansing, Smotrich, Netanyahu, they're open about it. And it's not just Smotrich, by the way. Israel Katz, your defense minister, warned last week that unless Hamas surrenders, Gaza City will, quote, become Rafah and Beit Hanun. It will be razed to the ground. Eli Cohen, another minister, he said
I have an answer
Gaza
for
City
that.
should be like Rafah, which we turned into a city of ruins. They're just bragging about their war crimes, Danny.
Mehdi, I hope you will appreciate
Listen, appreciate that they misspoke, and raising means like raising from the dead, maybe?
my answer. My answer is that they are bragging to their own base, the people that
Yeah,
they
this is
support.
just political talk. Don't you understand? Don't you understand that it's just silly political talk to their
Are
base?
very, 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 hawkish on the far right. They're doing the talks as politics, and this is something that
Israel Katz is the
Israelis-
defense minister, Danny. He's sending troops
I
into Gaza
know,
City
but
as we speak to raze it to the ground.
Yeah, but it's just political silly talk, you know? Jesus Christ.
You told me in
But
2018 when we spoke at Oxford, you said, listen to what Hamas say. This is what you said. All you have to do is see what they say, you said to
No.
me. Well, I'm telling you, look at what Netanyahu says, Smotrich says, Katz says, Cohen says. They're all open about ethnic cleansing and
Did you see the Donald Trump letter? Link it.
genocide, Danny. You can deny it all you want, but the government are saying it out loud.
They may be saying it, and I cannot deny that. But are they performing it? No.
Yes, they
do not
destroy-
What? Are you fucking... Is this a joke? Are they performing it? Wow. Okay.
perform it.
Hold on. Let me
And-
show you
and when I
what
talk
Gaza
about
looks
Hamas,
like.
it's not
Let me
just what
show
Hamas
you,
says,
Danny,
that's what Hamas does.
Danny, let's look at what Israel does. Let's put it on screen. Have a look at these images of central Gaza from the air, from ITV News. That is what they did. It is an apocalyptic hellscape. That
Are they saying it? Well, they're just definitely not performing it, right?
is genocide. That is what Smotrich did and Katz did. You can deny it all you want, but anyone with eyes can see that. That is what Israel has done. Wiped out Gaza, razed it to the ground, just like Smotrich said. That's genocide.
So this is not the intention. This was not the objective. This is the result of Hamas being embedded.
Exactly. It's all about Hamas. It is all about Hamas.
Their own population. Tell me,
You
why did
wiped
Hamas
out the
not
entire
leave Gaza?
city?
If they
You wiped out
if they
an
really
entire
cared
city to get a
about
group?
their people, they would have left Gaza long ago.
You wiped out an entire city to get a group? I just showed you the imagery. That's a hellscape. You've destroyed 70% of the homes and buildings. That's genocide.
Yes, this is not genocide. Genocide is what
Destroying
Hamas
an
does, and
entire
by the way,
place. Destroy. You
all
can
these photos,
say.
I'm sorry, what did he say?
Destroying an
This is not genocide. Genocide is what
destroying
Hamas
an
does, and
entire
by the way,
place. Destroy. You
all
can
these photos,
say.
you know,
You can. By the way, you say.
I must tell you, all those gruesome photos that you show me, and I cannot tell you it's not gruesome, but it's all whose responsibility?
Yours.
It's Hamas. Listen,
You dropped
this is
2,000-pound
war. Have
bombs
you seen
on cities and
Mehdi,
towns. You dropped
Mehdi,
2,000-pound
have you
bombs, Danny, on refugee camps, on schools, on churches, on hospitals, on mosques, on cemeteries. You did that. You need to did
is
that.
where Hamas is. Hamas is
So you can
trying
bomb
to
wherever
hide
Hamas
behind
is.
all civilians.
Danny, can you
If
tell our
Hamas-
A
viewers?
math word generator. I know. Literally just, this is getting so, okay, that's not even getting ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. Oh, why were those ambulance workers shot in the head and in the chest? Well, you see, Hamas, this independent doctor said that kids are being shot in the testicles. Well, you see, Hamas, maybe he's a Hamas sympathizer. What?
Danny, can you tell our viewers, where is the Israeli military
Yeah,
headquarters?
Again,
Where are
you're
the IDF?
talking About,
Could you answer a
you're
question for me,
talking
Danny?
About,
Could you tell our
you're
viewers
talking about-
where are the headquarters of the Israeli military? Where is the IDF military's headquarters?
Hamas?
the military is in Tel Aviv, but
It's in
are
the
there
heart of
positions
Tel
there?
Aviv. So does that mean
But
that
there are
any
no guns
Palestinian
there.
group can blow up all of Tel Aviv to get to the IDF?
No, because
Oh, double standard.
when you see
Is
because
it
Israeli
Hamas?
headquarters, they don't have tanks, they don't have missiles there.
The
they don't
Israeli
have
military
rifles
headquarters
even there. It's
is
not like
underneath
Hamas. It's
Tel
totally-
Aviv. It is
totally
near
different
train
thing.
stations, shopping centers, residential buildings. This is hypocrisy to say one side hides under civilians, but the
tell
other
you why
one doesn't.
not.
Mossad
I'll tell
is
you why
also in
not.
Tel Aviv.
Because,
Uh-oh.
I'll tell you why not. Because Israel does not use this as a military base.
Of course you do.
Offices.
It's the headquarters of the IDF. It's where it would be a legitimate target in any war to attack. And
The headquarters of the IDF is not a military base. You heard it here. Can't a state make a couple of thousand oopsies? People these days. True.
headquarters.
Totally different situation
Let's-
because
Let's
How?
talk
Do not
about.
shoot from there. The IDF does not have any firing positions there. It's totally
And there were-
different. And again, you cannot compare.
And there were
You know,
no
it's not
firing
apples to
positions
apples.
under the Shifa hospital. That video that you put out, no one ever found any military base under the Shifa hospital. We're running out of time. I want to ask you about the West Bank because you keep saying Hamas, Hamas. There is no, Hamas doesn't run the West Bank. Bezalel Smotrich, who you pretend has no power, just announced new settlements saying that Palestinian state will be erased, he says. Benjamin Netanyahu brags about blocking a Palestinian state. You yourself have called a two-state solution wrong morally. So to be clear, if you don't have a separate Palestinian state and you don't give the 4 million Palestinians living in the West Bank and Jerusalem, East Jerusalem, full voting rights in Israel, then what you have is apartheid, is it not? You have 4 million people under Israeli military rule. That's undeniable, isn't it?
So let me just make myself clear
No.
and correct a little bit what you say. I didn't say that Smotrich doesn't have power. Unfortunately, he does have power. But he speaks, again, he speaks volumes, but he does little. Why?
He's
Because
erasing a
He
Palestinian
does a lot.
state in the West Bank. He's saying that on Friday. He's announced new settlements in E1, which will end in a Palestinian
He's
state.
saying that, but he doesn't do anything. He said that.
But you agree with him.
And
But
nobody
Danny, you
here
agree with him. You don't
appreciates
support a
it except
Palestinian
his own
state.
base. But he's not doing anything. He's just saying it for political.
And nothing's
They're literally
happening.
building new settlements, Danny, and you support those settlements. You support having no Palestinian state. You support apartheid, do you not?
No.
I don't. I do. I'll tell you what I support. I support peace with security.
Yeah, I secure peace and secure Israel without a Hamas.
And justice to all.
That's abstractions.
I think
I'm asking
that the
specifically,
Palestinian
what
state-
do you support
I
for
just
the
like love and peace. Thank you.
4 million people living in the West Bank and East Jerusalem under military occupation right now?
I'll tell you what, there were more ample Israeli governments, that were actually willing to have a Palestinian state. By the way, if you want to go, 1937, the Jewish people agreed on a Palestinian state. 1947,
Danny,
they did.
we can have a
1967,
historical
they did.
debate, and I'll disagree with you. I'm
2000 we
asking
did.
now,
2007 we did.
what do you think
The
should
ones-
happen to 4 million Palestinians in the West Bank and East Jerusalem if they don't get a state and they don't get voting rights in Israel?
But you
then
see,
they are living under apartheid, under
1937
military rule as second class, as people with no citizenship rights.
You know who doesn't want a Palestinian state?
Danny, you're not
Hamas.
answering my question.
Hamas does not want a.
Palestinians.
I'll ask
You know
a fourth
why?
time.
Because they
what
don't
should
want a
happen?
state, they
Danny,
want
you're
to
filibustering and
conquer
everyone
our
can see
state.
it.
If-
I'm
Jesus Christ.
going to ask a fourth time. What should happen to 4 million Palestinians living in the West Bank and East Jerusalem if they don't get a state? You say you shouldn't have a state, and they don't get voting rights in Israel. What is their
So
status?
I will say what I think. I think
Yes, I think they should just. I don't know.
they should get a state. Listen, they should get a state based on their recognition of Israel as the Jewish state, based on a signing a peace agreement whereby they never ever attack Israel. And in these terms, basically, I think they would have their state. I think also they need to.
So
change
why did
their
you say
curriculum.
last year a two-state solution is wrong morally based on our values and our tradition?
Depending on what? Because as long as the Palestinians teach their children to hate Jews and to hate Israelis and to attack Israelis,
The people
it's
doing the
horribly
hating
wrong.
right now are Bezalel Smotrich, as we both agreed. Let me ask you this. In July, Palestinian activist Oda Al-Hathalin, who worked on the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, captured his own death on camera, Danny. He was shot and killed on camera by Yinon Levy, an Israeli settler who was previously sanctioned by the Biden administration. I want you to take a look at the video. It's horrific. Have a look at the video. Danny, an Israeli court allowed Levy to walk free with 0 charges, while the Israeli military then held on to Hathalin's body for 10 days, arrested his brother, violently disrupted his family's mourning service for him, and then blocked people from attending his funeral. That is textbook apartheid, is it not? One law for the Israeli settler, the killer, and another law for the
Interesting.
Palestinian victim of that killer.
I
Maybe
think
they
this case is
misspoke.
still under investigation. Listen, do you think I like seeing this?
You think it's still under so you don't know? You don't know if it's still under investigation or not? You just think that it is? It might be?
Like seeing these pictures. I would like to have peace, and I can tell you, if the Palestinians wanted peace, we would, doubly.
Those were unarmed Palestinians who were just shot on camera, and the judge let the man walk out of court. That's what we saw in South Africa, 2 laws for 2 peoples.
No.
In South Africa, yes, but not here.
In the West
Believe
Bank,
me,
yes.
not here.
I just gave you an
And
example.
I can tell you.
Then why
and
did he
I
walk
can
out of
tell you-
court? Why did he walk out of court? Scott?
Maybe it was a misunderstanding and Hamas. Maybe the person was Hamas Have you considered?
If we have peace, if the Palestinians
Danny, you're not answering my
will
question.
stop-
Why did he walk out of court scot-free? You can't answer the question. That's why you're avoiding it.
if I'm telling you, if the again, we are going around, beating around the bush.
Who needs
Let's-
free trial when Hamas, right? Hey, but genuinely, how do you stay so full of shit constantly on the spot? Do they have some training ground for this before interview? Yes, they do, definitely. Unironically, they are trained in what to say. 100% they are trained in what to say.
Or issue. We can have peace with the Palestinians if they really want peace. If they would not
True.
reject as they did in 2007.
Right now,
2008.
Danny,
You know what's the
right now,
problem?
not only are the Israelis rejecting peace, they're rejecting a ceasefire. There's a ceasefire deal on the
No.
table. The Israeli military chief
No.
says it's in Netanyahu's hands to sign. You yourself said last week on Sky News Australia that Netanyahu should sign it. He's refusing to sign that ceasefire. Before we run out of time, though, a week after October the 7th, you said on Al Jazeera, the world is with us. But because of the horrific famine that Israel has caused in Gaza, kids being starved to death, the world is now no longer with you. More than 20 Western foreign ministers just put out a joint statement condemning your country's settlement policy. The
True.
German chancellor, a big supporter of Israel, said in July, what you're doing in Gaza is unacceptable, he said. The British foreign secretary says Israel has caused the man-made outrage of starvation in Gaza. The Saudis, who you were so close to doing a deal with 2 years ago, now accuse your country of genocide and ethnic cleansing. And the majority of Americans now have a negative view of Israel.
Yep.
Whether you like it or not, Danny, surely you accept that you are now isolated in the world. You are now a pariah state, especially because of this famine you've caused in Gaza.
Yep.
No, Israel is not a pariah state.
No.
We are still a democratic country, and we have our people that whenever they want to raise their voice, they raise their voice against this government. This government is not very popular here, one thing.
But it's not popular in the world, is my point. It's alone in the world with the exception of Trump and Milei.
I would say that when it comes to, when you want to do a net assessment of, what you have against what the enemy does, you have to count not heads, but you have to count strategies and capabilities. The capability of Israel, in not just in military, but in political, will.
So why are you so
Trump.
isolated right now?
Sorry,
Danny? Why is the world
what?
coming around? You had, like you said, you had the world's support on October the 7th, but you lost it by doing a genocide and now by starving children in Gaza. There's a famine. That's what the world is saying. We can't tolerate the famine.
We lost it to a great extent
We lost it to anti-Semitism and Hamas.
because of Hamas propaganda. But as long as we have the United States,
It's
as
not
long
Hamas
as we have-
propaganda to say there is a
Yeah, exactly. It's Hamas. I told you.
famine in Gaza, Danny. That is the ruling of the
There is
IPC.
there is no famine in Gaza.
So why did
You
the
see many
IPC
people
say there
there-
is a famine? Why does the IPC, which defines what is and isn't a famine, and has done so for
Because
20
the-
years, why is it
because
saying there's a
the
famine in
Because
Gaza City?
Hamas.
The IPC changed the criteria.
That's a lie.
The IPC was not even there.
That's a lie.
The
What
IPC
criteria
was
did they
based-
change?
Is based itself
What
on-
criteria
on the-
did they
on the-
change, Danny? That's a lie.
No,
What,
the
what
data-
criteria did
the-
they
They
change?
changed the criteria dictated by Hamas.
was
What
the
criteria
data
did they
was
change?
Hamas data.
What
Look,
hold
if you
on,
want to see
Danny, you
starvation-
just made a false
if-
claim. What criteria did they change? I keep hearing this talking point. It's false. There was no change in criteria. What criteria did they change?
They changed the criteria that was different before and is different now. And have I mentioned Hamas?
changed many criteria. But I
They
want
didn't.
He basically answered like I did. Many of the criteria has been changed. God damn.
Danny,
which is
no,
simple.
hold on. No,
No,
Danny,
let's-
Danny. What criteria did the IPC change? Because they used the same
Well,
criteria.
no, those. Well, those that used to be different and are not the same now. Those ones.
The MUAC criteria that they used to declare a famine in Sudan.
The
last
one that
year,
needed changing.
they used
I gotta say, the interviewer is really good. He is really good. I like him a lot. I watched a bunch of his stuff. He is really good.
the same criteria in Gaza. So they're saying
He is on point.
it's a
Okay,
famine.
good.
You're saying it's not a famine. I'm saying why would anyone
You
believe
mentioned-
you, a diplomat
Okay,
from
I'm
Israel,
glad.
a former diplomat,
I-
over the IPC?
Mary, I'm glad you mentioned Sudan and Somalia. In
Yeah.
Sudan
I'm
and
glad you mentioned these things, Hamas.
Somalia, you see thousands of children with bloated bellies. Do you see any in Gaza?
Have you
No.
read?
Yes.
Only one
Have
or
you
two
read the?
with
Have you seen the
preconditions
pictures in the
because
Haaretz
Hamas
piece?
Danny,
No,
Haaretz just did a piece where they went into hospitals with a video cameraman who, by the way, your country just killed on Monday, and they filmed children starving. And by the way, you've made a
No.
false claim about the IPC changing its criteria. We now agree
That is grim. That is really grim. You just killed the guy that filmed it.
a false claim. The
You
IPC
know what?
used the same
you know what? I
criteria
challenge
to
you.
declare a famine
I
in
challenge
Gaza.
you.
By the way, it's
Mehdi,
not just the
I
IPC.
challenge
General,
Mehdi,
what are you
I
challenging?
challenge you to a duel. I challenge you to a duel, and I think you're a Hamas sympathizer a bit.
Mary, I challenge you are investigating. I challenge you to look at the exact criteria that the IPC used.
I did. And I
last
spoke
week,
to actual
and the same
experts
one that
on
they
this.
used
You
only
didn't.
2 years ago.
Let me ask you
challenge
this.
To do that, I will.
They used the same
and bring
criteria
it back
as they
to
did
your,
on Sudan.
To your audience.
You made a false claim. Let me say this, not just the IPC. Over 100 humanitarian aid groups from around the world just signed a joint statement saying Israel is blocking them from bringing in aid. You want us to believe you, the Israeli military, Netanyahu, Smotrich, but not...
Yes, believe us, please. And not those Hamas sympathizers.
ANERA, Christian Aid, the Danish Refugee Council, the Norwegian Refugee Council, Polish Humanitarian Aid, Pax Christi,
Polish humanitarian aid, there you go.
Sabeel Kairos, Oxfam, Doctors Without Borders, Save the Children. I could go on and on, Danny. Are you going to say they're all Hamas? They're all pro-Hamas, are they? Ridiculous.
Yeah, they are all Hamas sympathizers. Finally, you understand.
No, I think they are naive, and I
All of them are just naive. There you go. All of them are just naive.
think they are basing
Without exception, all of them are naive.
their assessment on Hamas.
No,
data.
they're not. They're not using Hamas
Show
data.
me
They're saying that we are being
there is
blocked
no
from bringing
famine.
our trucks in.
Listen,
Danny, they're not talking about
if
famine.
there was famine,
Danny, listen
I
to
don't know
me.
if you-
They're not talking
Did
about
you see-
famine. They're not talking about
Did
famine.
you
They're
see
saying,
famine? Did
can I
you see
finish a
famine
sentence?
in Sudan, in
Danny,
Somalia,
they
in
are not
Africa?
talking about
You don't see
famine
the same thing here.
or Hamas propaganda or Hamas data. They're saying their guys on the ground are being blocked from bringing in baby formula by Israelis at border crossings.
Maybe they're just being naive. Maybe they could easily get in, but they just don't want to. Have you considered that maybe they just don't want to get in?
That is their
If they're
experience. They're
no,
wrong.
this is
ANERA's wrong.
Maybe-
Christian Aid's wrong. The Danish Refugee Council is wrong.
All of them are wrong. You don't understand?
The Norwegian Refugee Council is wrong. Polish Humanitarian Action is wrong. Doctors
Especially the Polish humanitarian actions.
Without Borders is wrong. Save the Children is wrong. Oxfam is wrong. 100 aid groups are all wrong, Danny. Do you realize how silly
They are all naive.
you sound? Just
By
silly.
the way, no, many of them, listen, you have to read the reports. Many of them will tell
True, many of them are Hamas supporters.
you that Hamas blocked it. Just read
They're
the
not
reports
saying that.
and
The
read them.
aid groups are
And
not
by the
saying
way,
Hamas blocked them. They're saying
when you
Israel
talk about
blocked them.
famine, let's talk about facts.
Maybe they cannot tell Israel from Hamas. Have you considered that Hamas is blocking them and they think it's Israel?
Israel has been since May
Poland? What do they know about genocide and war? Asks Lettuce True. Nothing.
sending into the West Bank, if you look at calories, 3,000 to 4,000 calories per capita. Why don't they get evenly distributed?
Hamas.
Ask Hamas.
Why
Why
are you-
sitting? Why Hamas?
You think
is
Hamas?
sitting
Are you
in
gonna
their
push another lie that
very
Hamas is stealing the aid,
air-conditioned- No.
which has been
Listen,
debunked,
Manny,
Danny, as you know?
I understand that you want to picture a one-sided story.
It
But
is
if you look at
one-sided on
Hamas
the aid,
leaders,
Danny. It is
Hamas terrorists
one-sided.
today- Hamas terrorists today, if you take a photo
On the famine
where they sit in their
situation,
air-conditioned
it is one-sided.
tunnels and eat, and when they eat everything that they can just think of,
Danny,
this is the problem.
You say,
Hamas-
Danny, let me ask you this then. You say I'm being one-sided. Israeli military sources told N12 in May that they had monitored 110 incidents in which aid was stolen or looted in Gaza. Do you know how many of those looting incidents were carried out by Hamas, according to Israel? How many of the 110 incidents were carried out by Hamas?
I don't know this report.
Zero.
I can tell
Zero.
you.
Zero.
I can-
They were carried out by
Listen.
armed gangs and hungry Palestinians. Armed gangs are backed by Israel, as Netanyahu has already admitted. Zero by Hamas. That's Israeli military intelligence, not me.
No,
No, they misspoke. They maybe are Hamas supporters.
I don't know where you have the intelligence reports from.
I'll read it out to you.
intelligence.
N12, which is the online news website of Channel 12, you know it well.
No,
They reported
Mary, I'm
110
sorry.
incidents.
No, I don't believe you. Stop.
Don't
Stop.
believe it
Danny,
for a
I'm reading
moment.
to you from the Israeli media.
Unfortunately-
I'm reading to you from the
unfortunately-
No co, Fajdusiu? No chodź. Chodź, Fajdo. Chodź do mnie. I think Fido wants me to walk him now. I think Fido wants a walk. Alright, let's continue watching this farce. Tragic comedy. Not much left, actually.
Israeli media, whether you like it or not. This is 110 looting incidents. None of them
manipulated. It is manipulated.
Wow, the Israeli military is
The Israeli military is infiltrated by Hamas from within.
Talking about something which I do not see in my eyes.
I'm reading it out to you. If you stop filibustering.
I saw visuals
Okay.
of Hamas killing their own people.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about looting.
Listen, the IDF is infiltrated by Hamas, okay? Hamas, as always.
Hamas was looting
So let me
food
read to you what the
just
Israeli
to-
military says.
just to sell them
When you
and
finish
get
your
more
speech,
money
I'll
for it.
respond. This is 110
Hamas-
looting incidents.
Hamas, listen, but have you considered Hamas? Do you denounce
None
Hamas?
of them were carried out by Hamas terrorists. That is what the Israeli
All of
military
them.
told N12.
Well, the military lied. Have you considered that the IDF lied because it's full of Hamas sympathizers? True.
In May.
Listen, I don't
Danny,
want to say...
as the line goes, the facts don't care about your feelings. Whether you like
Yeah, but maybe so. But have you considered Hamas?
it or not, that is what the Israeli military said to N12.
No, I think that what...
I
Again,
think that it's mistranslated by Hamas translators.
let's put one thing straight. I believe all the problems in Gaza,
Are caused by Hamas.
if you look at it, it's Hamas.
There you go.
Hamas is
course you'll
responsible
say
for
that.
everything. For killing the Jews and for killing the Arabs. It's all Hamas.
No,
Israel is
you've
reacting-
killed
Israel
Arabs and
is
Jews. You've killed a lot of your own
reacting in
hostages too.
Self-defense and wars are not pretty. I can take you back to
I'm sure Hamas would say they
Dresden
were doing
and to
self-defense too.
Hiroshima
Every
and to
war
Fallujah.
criminal
This
says
is
it's
what wars
self-defense.
look like. But you know
This
what?
is not, Danny,
The thing
this is not what war looks like. That's the whole point. That's why the
No,
world has
it
turned
is.
on Israel.
You
We
want to-
showed you the
Wait a
imagery.
minute.
We showed you.
want
Let's
to
put up the
bring in
images one more
photos
time
of
before we finish.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki,
Before we finish,
Dresden,
before we finish.
Fallujah.
True. Maybe. Is he implying that Israel should nuke Gaza? Like Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Bring those photos in.
I'm showing
when
you.
it
That
comes
looks like.
to-
I'm showing
No,
you right
when it
now.
comes to other
That
countries,
looks
you know,
like
it's all
Hiroshima
condoned.
and
When it comes to
Nagasaki.
Israel,
A bit.
there are enough people who are trying to put
Danny,
Israel...
the
This
picture
looks
on
like Warsaw a bit, actually, after World War II. And ironically,
the screen.
this looks like Warsaw.
And this is not fair. It's just not fair.
Last question to you. You mentioned Hiroshima.
You're not being fair.
Nagasaki. Back in 2018, Danny, at the Oxford Union, we had an exchange about Israel's nuclear weapons, which has since gone viral on TikTok. You and I are too old to be on TikTok, but I'm telling you, millions of views apparently on TikTok for that clip. You said you had no knowledge of Israeli nuclear weapons when you were in government. And yet this Israeli government seems to want the world to know about its nukes. You said earlier they like to brag to their base. Benjamin Netanyahu said the other day, if we wanted to commit genocide in Gaza, we would have done it in one afternoon. He's basically saying we could have nuked Gaza. His heritage minister said a month after October 7th, that
Well, maybe he misspoke.
nuking Gaza was an option on the table. And he got a, I think, 12 or 24-hour suspension for saying that. Israel has nuclear weapons. Its own ministers and prime minister are admitting it. Why do you continue to pretend otherwise that Israel has nukes?
Oh?
I'll tell you why. Because we have...
Wait. He asked, why do you pretend that nukes does not have nuclear weapons? And he just responded with, I will tell you why I'm pretending.
a system here. We have a message here which we stick to. And I can tell you one thing.
We have a message that is such a horrible answer.
Now, really, honestly, tell me the truth. I can tell you right now, and I can tell
We have a message that we stick to.
Bibi in his face that he's the worst prime minister that was here and I want him out. Do you see any Palestinians saying this to Hamas or to any other?
Israel has nukes and I pretended that it didn't. Have you considered Hamas?
Leader?
Palestinians
That's
are
the
deeply
difference.
dissatisfied
So
with
they
their
can
leadership,
say-
and maybe Israel
they
should
can
release
say-
Marwan
they can say
Barghouti
whatever
so they
they
can
want.
have a
I'll tell you why I pretend that Israel does not have nukes. Hamas.
leader
They
that
say
they want.
whatever they want. Our people know better. And Israel said, we will never be the first one to introduce military weapons in the Middle East. Why don't we say more than that? Because, and here I will tell you, because we keep an ambiguity.
But you don't. Netanyahu just said we could
have. We have an ambiguity and Hamas.
We could have killed everyone in Gaza in one afternoon. You can only do that with nukes.
Listen, we had that. Believe me, we will not do that. But
you do have nukes, though, right, Danny? Just to clarify, you do have nuclear weapons.
I plead the fifth.
You have a country like Iran, as long as you have.
But Iran doesn't have nukes. You have nukes, right? But Iran doesn't have nukes. You have nukes, right?
I plead the fifth again.
I'm very ambiguous about it. I don't.
What sort of an answer is this? Hey, do you have nuclear weapons? I'm ambiguous about it. Basically, I yes.
Say yes, I don't say no.
But you have nukes.
Because we want to deter. Unfortunately, Israel is the only country which is being threatened by total annihilation.
Israel is the only country in the Middle East that has bombed 5 of its neighbors in the last year. Israel is the only country in the Middle East that has bombed 5 of its neighbors in the last year. That's a fact.
Any other country would do the same as Israel.
Of course, every other country would commit genocide in our place.
Well, when it is being threatened by so many, I would say, criminals, like the
criminals,
Ayatollahs in Iran, or the Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. When we will have peace here, believe me, everything will change.
Yeah, it's like the USSR used to say, we will have peace even if not a stone is left standing.
I'm going to give you the last word. Danny Ayalon, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you taking time out for us.
Maddie, thank you very much for making me famous in Oxford and hopefully now as well.
I'm not sure if that's the type of fame that you'd like to have. I'm not sure if that is the type of fame that you should be striving for, to be quite honest with you. That is not really the type of fame that you want, okay? Not the best kind of fame, I think. I think there's something not pleasant about having this sort of fame. All right, let's go to here, because if we're on a roll. International Association of Genocide Scholars. We're going to look through this paper. It's only 3 pages long. It is a pretty significant declaration by this pretty prestigious organization. Well, actually, let's look it up. International Association of Genocide Scholars. Here you go. Home. You can learn about them a little bit. The International Association of Genocide Scholars is a global, interdisciplinary, nonpartisan organization that seeks to further research and teaching about the nature, causes, and consequences of genocide and advance policy studies on genocide prevention. So that is who they are. Okay? Now let's go to this. Recognizing that since the horrific Hamas-led attack of 7th October 2023, which itself constitutes international crimes, the government of Israel has engaged in systematic and widespread crimes against humanity, war crimes, and genocide, including indiscriminate and deliberate attacks against the civilians and civilian infrastructure, hospitals, homes, commercial buildings, etc., of Gaza, which, according to official UN estimates at the date of this resolution, has killed more than 59,000 adults and children in Gaza. Recognizing that these crimes are estimated to have left many thousands of people buried under the rubble of, or otherwise inaccessible and most probably dead. Recognizing that this bombing and other violence is estimated to have injured more than 133,000 people, with many maimed. Recognizing that the actions of the Israeli government against Palestinians have included torture, arbitrary detention, and sexual and reproductive violence, deliberate attacks on medical professionals, humanitarian aid workers, and journalists, and the deliberate deprivation of food, water, medicine, and electricity essential to the survival of the population, which I've argued that it is a crime to deprive that area of electricity. Recognizing that Israel has forcibly displaced nearly all of the 2.3 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip multiple times and demolished more than 90% of the housing infrastructure in the territory. Recognizing that the consequences of these crimes have included destroying entire families and multiple generations of Palestinians. recognizing that Israel has destroyed schools, universities, libraries, museums, and archives, all of them essential to the continued existence of Palestinian collective well-being and identity. Okay, I'll watch it quickly and then I'll watch what you have here quickly and then I guess I hope you're not disturbing me for something or some silly business, okay?
It's been 30 years.
Okay, you're trying to wreck my stream, okay? This is demonetization right away. This is so copyrighted that you would not even believe. For that, you have to donate, okay? Like, what the hell? What the hell are you trying to do? Demonetize my whole stream? Or get it taken off? Is this a document to make Israel openly acknowledge these things as part of terms of for peace? This is an organization of genocide scholars giving their opinion on the thing. Recognizing that Israel has killed or injured more than 50,000 children, and that this destruction of a substantial part of a group constitutes genocide, as emphasized in a joint declaration of intervention in the International Court of Justice, case of the Gambia versus Myanmar by 6 countries: Canada, Denmark, France, Germany, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing that you have demonetized this stream. Canada, Denmark, France, Germany, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, which states that children form a substantial part of the groups protected by the Genocide Convention, and that the targeting of children provides an indication of the intention to destroy a group as such, at least in part. Children are essential to the survival of any group. As such, since the physical destruction of the group is assured where it is unable to regenerate itself. Recognizing that Israeli government leaders, war cabinet ministers, and senior army officers have made explicit statements of intent to destroy, characterizing Palestinians in Gaza as a whole as enemies and human animals, and stating that the intention of inflicting maximum damage on Gaza, flattening Gaza, and turning Gaza into hell. Recognizing that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has endorsed the current US President's plans to forcibly expel all Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. Current US President's plan. The current US President's plan to forcibly expel all Palestinians from the Gaza Strip with no right of return in what Navi Pillay, head of the UN Commission of Inquiry on the occupied Palestinian territory, has said amounts to ethnic cleansing. Recognizing that the deliberate destruction of agricultural fields, foods, warehouses, and bakeries, and other violence that prevents food production in conjunction with denial and restriction of humanitarian aid indicate the intentional infliction of unlivable conditions. Intentional infliction of unlivable conditions, resulting in starvation of Palestinians in Gaza. Acknowledging that on the 21st November 2024, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. By the way, Trump has sanctioned the International Criminal Court over this of Israel in the court's ongoing investigation opened on the 3rd March 2021 of crimes committed on Palestinian territory since 13th June 2014, charging them with crimes identified in the Rome Statute in the Gaza Strip from at least 8th October 2023, including the starvation of civilians, intentionally directing attacks against a civilian population, murder, and persecution. Whereas Israel's action in response to the October 7th attack and subsequent holding of hostages have not only been directed against the Hamas group responsible for these, but have also targeted the entire Gazan population. So, group responsibility, collective responsibility, that is it. Acknowledging that the International Court of Justice found in 3 provisional measures order in the case of South Africa versus Israel, January, March, and May 2024, that it is plausible that Israel is committing genocide in its attack in Gaza, and ordered Israel to take all measures within its power to prevent and punish the direct and public incitement of genocide and to ensure the provision of humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza, which I guess has not happened. Acknowledging that leading global international law organizations and UN bodies including Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Forensic Architecture, Dawn, B'Tselem, and Physicians for Human Rights, and the Special Rapporteur of this on the situation of human rights in the occupied Palestinian territories have conducted extensive investigations and issued reports concluding that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. Acknowledging that a number of Israeli, Palestinian, Jewish, and other scholarly experts working in Holocaust and genocide studies and in international law have concluded that Israeli governmental and military actions constitute genocide. Acknowledging that the international civil society has a responsibility to prevent genocide by encouraging and assisting states to fulfill their obligations under the Genocide Convention to prevent, suppress, and punish genocide. Acknowledging that punitive security measures against members of a group are often pretext for mass killing and genocide, as it has become in this case. Therefore, the International Association of Genocide Scholars declares that Israel's policies and actions in Gaza meet the legal definition of genocide in Article 2 of the United Nations Convention for the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, 1948. Declares that Israel policies and actions in Gaza constitute war crimes and crimes against humanity as defined in international humanitarian law and the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Calls upon the government of Israel to immediately cease all acts that constitute genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. So it's not just one crime, it's all the three big crimes: genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity, which are not, by the way, in some hierarchy. In legal terms, none of these are a bigger crime. Against Palestinians in Gaza, including deliberate attacks against and killing of civilians, including children, starvation, deprivation of humanitarian aid, water, fuel, and other items essential to the survival of the population, sexual and reproductive violence, and the forced displacement of the population. Calls upon the government of Israel to comply with the provisional measures orders of the International Court of Justice. Calls upon the state parties of the International Criminal Court to comply with their obligations, cooperate with the court, and surrender any individual subject to an arrest warrant, Netanyahu. Calls upon all, and Gallant, calls upon all states to actively pursue policies to ensure respect for their obligations under international law, including under the Genocide Convention, the Arms Trade Treaty, and international humanitarian law with regards to Israel and Palestine, and calls upon the government of Israel and all other United Nations members to support a process of repair and transitional justice that will afford democracy, freedom, dignity, and security for all people of Gaza. Current as of 28th July 2025. Resolution passed 31st August 2025. There you have it. Pretty respectable organization of genocide scholars have declared that the legal criteria for genocide as per the UN Convention of Prevention and Punishment of Genocide have been in fact met. Just apropos our little interview that we have been hearing for the last more than an hour. This is a pretty significant thing, what has been declared here. I think we all can agree. And I think it puts in a new light all that we have heard. Well, maybe not in a new light, but it certainly gives perspective, right? It certainly gives us a little bit of perspective on what we've been hearing here today when it comes to these topics. Wouldn't you agree? Would you not agree? So there you go. Any thoughts? Yeah. All right. So I have done this. We have a few topics still. We have the topic of Trump changing the name of the Ministry of Defense to the Ministry of War. We have, what do we have? What else do we have? We have the Polish history segment. We have Putin come to Kiev. Oh yeah, and we have the reparations from Germany. Polish president wants reparations from Germany. $1.3 trillion or something. Or is it euro? So which topic do you want? I'll let the audience